Hello and welcome to Grow with SAP, Elevating Mid-Market Businesses with S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. If you don't have the chat or comment area opened up, please go ahead and do so now. Just look down below if you're on your phone or to the right-hand side of your viewing of your screen if you're viewing us on a desktop for an area to leave your comments. This is where we'll be asking you questions and feedback. We want it to be a two-way street where it's truly interactive during the time we spend together during today's session. Please feel free to share any ideas or questions that may pop up as we go through this session. In fact, let us know right now, where are you joining us from? And as you all are sharing with us, I would like to formally introduce myself. My name is Monique, and I'm your host for today's live event. It's my pleasure to guide you through our engaging panel discussion featuring distinguished speakers and esteemed audience on Grow with SAP, Elevating Mid-Market Businesses with S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. Together, we'll explore groundbreaking strategies and insights in the world of SAP solutions. So let's dive into a conversation that promises to be as enlightening as it is inspiring. Now, I first want to bring to your attention Pronix Inc., a distinguished member of the SAP partner ecosystem, renowned for its SAP application services and over a decade of expertise in SAP application management. And Pronix is proud to announce a live panel discussion featuring industry experts. So let's get started. We will now introduce our three distinguished speakers, Chris, Raj, and Egel. Each of them are a beacon of expertise in the SAP landscape. They will share their insight on SAP Grow's offerings, addressing the unique challenges businesses face, and celebrating the successes of those who have thrived through the digital transformation. So let's kick it off with demystifying Grow with SAP, covering essentials such as what it is, who it's for, why it matters, and how your business can start benefiting today. Our first guest, Egel, will help us understand the differences between Grow and Rise within SAP's ecosystem. Egel, over to you.
Perfect. First, of course, thank you, Monique, and Pronix for having me here. Really happy to be sharing with you, Raj, and Christoph, the panel. And quickly introduce myself. I'm Egel Cruz. I'm part of SAP Product Marketing based out of Denver. And I've been working with S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition for 6 years now. And my team and myself, we work on Grow with SAP, go-to-market, as well as packaging and pricing. And to go into the question, Rise versus Grow, I first want to talk about the similarities. And they're both offerings from SAP that bring our customers to the cloud. That's number one. Number two is they're offerings that are comprehensive, meaning that they go beyond the systems. So it's not just the cloud ERP and the BTP, the SAP Business Technology Platform, but they go beyond into enablement platforms and a lot of other additional assets and accelerators that bring the time to value to our customers. And the third similarity is they both have a full-blown cloud ERP as part of the offering. And this is where those differentiators come into place now, because as you talk about Rise, we're talking about S/4HANA Cloud Private Edition. While you're talking to Grow, you'll be referring to S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. And in reality, these are two differentiated cloud journeys. While we talk about Rise, Private Cloud or S/4HANA Cloud Private Edition, we are talking about a tailored to fit cloud ERP. It is designed to customers who want to come to the cloud at their own pace and keep their own standard and keep control on their solution. Well, as we talk to Grow with SAP, this is more of a ready-to-run cloud ERP that will be running on the industry standard. And in order to, I'm sure you're familiar with keeping the core clean, and cloud mindset, as you keep your code clean and stay close to this industry standard, you will be able to stay updated and you'll be able to adopt those innovations that SAP provides every month with updates and every 6 months with upgrades. So our expectations are that really our install base, probably 70-80% our install base that already run SAP ERP systems, will find RISE more appealing because they want to keep those innovations, the investment that they did in those customizations into their platform and take advantage by moving to the cloud into S/4HANA Cloud Private Edition, while 80% of net new names, companies who do not run SAP Cloud ERP systems, will be more impacted by the value proposition that comes with grow with SAP, which is also focused on time to value. It's an accelerated cloud ERP, an accelerated way to come to the cloud with the standard solutions. I hope that answers.
Thank you, Angel. Your explanation clarifies the distinct paths businesses can take with Grow and Rise, offering tailored solutions for their unique needs. And I really like how you distinguish the difference between the private versus the public edition. So thank you so much for that. Now, our next speaker is Raj. Raj,
hi.
Could you elaborate on the importance of a cloud mindset and clean core in today's digital landscape?
Sure. Thanks, Monique. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Hope everyone is doing great. Thanks for that explanation, Angel. That was a real good information on both Rise and Grow. It really helps. About me, I'm an SAP practice lead with over 20 plus years experience in SAP ecosystem and currently a teaching faculty at University of Houston, City Board College of Business, teaching supply chain management and SAP S/4HANA to students, and then a Six Sigma enthusiast and learner. Coming back now on the cloud mindset and clean core, I feel both are very much synonymous with each other. Coming back to the cloud mindset, other day I was with one of my colleague, discussing about some of the client issues and all that, and he's explaining to me, and one of the client who is in the middle of the one of their technology implementation as part of their supply chain transformation. We've been discussing, some of the issues that are coming up is the client is what's doing is the project is delaying, thinking that now it's a simple lift and shift scenario. And the supply chain department and IT are talking about whose responsibility is about certain technology or the processes. And also the people managers and the supply chain business managers are discussing how their job is going to be changing. At the same time, understanding what they need to do. So all these things, and IT department is thinking how they have to really look into the scope changes. So all these things are really coming up, and we've been discussing. Ultimately, at the end of it, we discussed they need to just adopt a cloud mindset. So the cloud mindset, I feel it's a sort of a mindset that we adopt into all these digital transformations. It's a sort of right mindset. Also, this cloud mindset changes in every department. Forget about organization to organization. Within the organization, it could change in their own way, in their own definitions. For instance, if you really take a finance department, their definition is all about moving from CapEx to OpEx. If you really take IT department, they say now I move from from the costlier on-site maintenance of the hardware, software to everything to as a service business, for instance. IaaS, PaaS, PaaS, and SaaS models. From a point of business, they want to convert the current stagnant model to an agile one. So all these things really, they're all part of the overall cloud mindset. Everything seems to be fantastic, the right answers, the right mindset. But so what I mean to say is it's all about having the right mindset. It's about being agile over rigidity, and having a better experience over the process, and having the right outcomes over actions. So these are part of some of the cloud right mindset. So what are the benefits? How really it helps this cloud mindset? First thing is it helps to run the faster implementations due to adopting the SAP best practices. That's very, very important, which we'll talk about further down the line. And lower upgrade costs, because there is no change in the SAP source code or SAP code. At the same time, the business value driven implementations happens for the extensions and the customizations it's required, and lower efforts in future upgrades as we go forward. And all these things definitely help due to the correct cloud mindset. As I mentioned earlier, the cloud mindset and the clean core go hand in hand. Okay, what is clean core? What exactly is meant by that? I mean, we've been talking about for a good amount of time when we have the rise and grow and all these things and all moving to cloud. So clean core basically is the system where it is as near to the standard without much of the customization. But you will have your cloud compliant extensions and standardized implementation and customizations, which will keep the core clean. It will not interfere with any of your customizations and extensions. It's all about the two things. What I see in the clean core is one is adapt and adopt. So what exactly is this? The clean core helps you to adapt to the business changes, adopt new capabilities. So these two things go hand in hand. In overall, now you adapt to the new business challenges and adopt new capabilities. So that's what I feel now we'll have both cloud mindset and clean core go hand in hand for any cloud migrations. So I just want to mention that. I know Egel, Christoph, if you want to add, please feel free.
Yeah, thanks, Raj. From a CIO's perspective, I can't overstate the importance of clean core as one adopts a cloud ERP system, especially a public cloud ERP systems. If you will, as a CIO, I've spent far too much time talking with senior leadership about technology debt. And if you really think about why technology debt exists, very often you find that it is because of customizations that have been made to standard systems years ago that are now expensive to maintain, expensive to change. Very often we find that the resources are no longer available to fully understand what those customizations have done. Therefore, we are not making the necessary changes in our ecosystem. And this applies, if you will, also to the cloud mindset aspect of it when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to operating systems, when it comes to current state application systems, databases, and so on. Customizations very often prevent us from moving fast, from being agile. And that's why a clean core mindset for our applications is so important, because it enables us to take and adopt what the software vendors have provided us with twice a year, and it becomes a pure activation. And I'm not sure if any one of you guys is going to talk about the activate methodology, but that's at its core. We are no longer implementing something new. We are activating something that we are provided with, which is much, much faster. And in the spirit of time to value, speed to value, that's so important to companies today.
Very well said.
And maybe just to add to that, Raj and Christoph, I think it's also a change in the paradigm, right? We are used to those ECCs, heavy customizations at the core, changing standard processes. And now we move into this modular cloud architecture, which is, we're going to bring multiple solutions, interconnect them. So in order to stay updated with those innovations that Christoph was mentioning, we need to stay standard. That doesn't mean we don't do the customizations. That means we don't do the customizations to change the standard code. That means we do this customization on the edge, or we do the custom with developer extensibility, for example, in public cloud, or we do it through BTP, the platforms, the tools that are provided to preserve that clean core that can be evolved automatically, seamlessly, and as Christoph was saying, just adopting all the innovations that the vendor, in this case SAP, is providing. So that new modular cloud is also what is going to allow us not only to adopt those innovations and keep our ERP relevant, but also to grow, to be more flexible. We will be able to add additional add-ons, little pieces of cloud solutions here and there, SAP or non-SAP, to create the focus that is not going to be in the modular, in the monolithic ERP where we build everything. Is going to be in the end-to-end process where there are going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 different solutions that support each process.
All right, invaluable insights from each of you, especially with you, Raj, kicking off answering this question, really stressing the importance of adopting a cloud mindset. It's evident that having a cloud mindset and clean core is foundational for businesses aiming for agility and innovation. So Angel, let's bring it back to you, my friend. How can businesses start benefiting from Accelerate to Grow with SAP today?
Thank you, Monique. So maybe building up on what we were saying, right? In this, and I think Christoph mentioned time to value. As we deliver these solutions, especially we're talking about Grow with SAP and S4 public cloud, the solution is already there. The solution is provided by the vendor. It's ready to run, and the moment that is delivered, is deployed and activated, you can start testing. It's pre-configured, it comes with data. So we are all entering a time that we are working with time to value. That is not what we used to. We're talking about weeks, not months. So I have plenty of customers who go live in 10 weeks, 20 weeks. So that's something that not every organization is used to. That's something not all organizations can tip with their IT departments. So or even partners on SAP get used. So what we do is we package a lot of solutions, methodologies like SAP Activate that Christoph mentioned, tools like the digital discovery assessment or cloud ALM, and services like the baseline activation service or the qualified partner package solutions, to bring them all together under that brand that is Accelerate, to provide something that's going to support that time to value and help us deliver on the promised time to value. So it's going to give us a deployment methodology and a deployment timeline that's going to be a lot faster, a lot more accurate in our prediction, and therefore is going to lower the time to value by 40 to 60%, and the cost of implementation, not just by the partner, but the overall cost of the implementation probably to half. So the concept of Accelerate for Growth SAP is, now that we have all these different pieces, how do we put some overarching tool to make sure that they all come together, and how the Activate is now going to integrate with the best practices that Raj mentioned, and how do they all come alive with in a project plan, let's say with Cloud ALM, where you come and you onboard your team and put that some dates and create those time boxes to make sure that we stick to the 20 weeks, 25 weeks that we are going to be talking about, rather than a larger plan, a more complex and a more divided portion of deployment that's where we all used to be. That's the value of Accelerate.
Angel, that's truly inspiring. Accelerate seems like a direct pathway to tangible benefits for businesses ready to take the leap. I also want to acknowledge real quick, we are receiving some questions here, especially the first one from VJ. We are going to answer your question actually really soon, in approximately maybe 2 minutes. But for those of you that are here, please do not hesitate to share your comments, opinions, and or questions. I see that they are slowly coming in, so please do so now. So next, we are going to address your challenges. But before we do so, type in the chat right now, #1, if you're enjoying this session thus far, because I'm really enjoying the discussion points, and especially when everyone was able to join in with our second question. And type #2 in the chat if you would like to know even more, because we're about to get into the nitty-gritty of some really good things. With that said, we're actually going into addressing your challenges. So with addressing your challenges, we're going to discuss how Grow with SAP tackles common digital transformation challenges, offering real solutions and lessons learned from businesses like yours. And this brings us to our third speaker, which he was able to share his face briefly, but we have next Christoph. Welcome, Christoph. And Christoph, what should be the focus when implementing S/4HANA Public Edition?
Thanks, Monica. Let me take a step back first and introduce myself. My name is Christoph Egel. I am a partner with Fortune Partners. We provide technology leadership as a service to mid-market companies like yours. In my case, that means helping clients with fractional interim CIO leadership through digital transformations, for example, like an ERP implementation. I held a number of CIO assignments for global manufacturing enterprises like Delta Electronics a while ago, and Cooper Tire most recently, and have been engaged with SAP since the R2 days. And I know I just outed myself here from an age perspective. And to answer your question, Monica, it really is to some extent very different, and to some extent the same from a challenge perspective if you are implementing on-prem with some old technology, or if you are implementing a public cloud-based solution. So for example, you still got to make sure that you have a very solid business case. Now, the business case becomes much more attractive because as Angel mentioned, you are cutting time in half to some extent. You are cutting implementation cost in half. You're going live much faster with your solution if you fit to standard instead of using a gap fit process, as we've all done so many times throughout our career and our experiences. So having a solid, robust business case is actually much easier with a solution like SAP Grow, because it's faster, it's cheaper, and it has less variation. And this is because, and that's my #2, the fit to standard process. Like before, we have to make sure that the system meets our expectations and our process meet the capability of the system that we're implementing. That's where SAP Grow standard fit to standard process comes into play, because it's designed to adopt the standard business practices the best-in-class business practices that are implemented within the solution, that are continuously updated, that are out of the box. Out of the box actually now has a different meaning because you can activate the out-of-the-box solution. You no longer have to implement it. You no longer have to make sure that it works with all of your customizations, because ideally you have much fewer, and therefore ideally if you implement or activate a fit to standard business practice, you are faster, have less variation. And I think I'm repeating myself on this one here, but you can actually sense how important this is to me as a CIO, because the acceleration of value really means a lot to all the various business functions. So bottom line is keep customizations to an absolute minimum, and customize only for competitive advantage or differentiation. Always remember that each customization in the long run will become some form of liability. Now, this doesn't mean, and I believe Raj will talk about this in a little bit, that you can't make any changes to the system. There is a variety of tools in SAP Public Cloud that allows you to, I don't want to use the word customize, personalize is probably the better term, your experience, but they actually easily migrate to an updated version when necessary. In order to apply a fit to standard approach, in order to minimize customizations to an absolute minimum, it remains a key success factor to identify a business champion. We've talked many times in the past about these type of projects, large digital transformation projects, not being IT projects, but business projects. And this requires to have a business champion who actually drives all those paradigm changes, as we've heard the term earlier. A couple of additional aspects that remain very important. If your implementation is a brownfield implementation, even if it's public cloud, data transformation and migration is essential. We all know that the accuracy and completeness of data is essential for ERP systems to work, and this has become much more important as we're talking about AI, which actually can easily be added to a public cloud solution from SAP, but all of this really depends on having trustworthy, complete, accurate, and timely data. So data transformation and migration haven't changed. They may have become easier because better tools are available, but they are super essential. And then last but not least, organizational change management, training and testing. Especially for training and testing, Grow provides integrated capabilities. Cloud ALM actually maintains all the information as the project proceeds and progresses within the environment, allows for automated testing, allows for training on the fly, and these remain very essential. I actually had an opportunity to talk with the digital transformation lead of a transportation manufacturing company very recently that's undergoing a digital transformation, and they emphasized within their organization that digital transformation starts with a digital culture change. So bottom line on this one is that org change management, which is very well supported with the SAP accelerators and the Activate methodology, remains a core consideration and a core challenge when you implement a public cloud-based system, like with any systems before.
Thank you.
Sorry, back to you, Monica.
Thank you, Christoph, for your guidance sheds light on critical success factors for implementation, emphasizing strategic priorities. And I actually want to address a question that was given to us from the audience, and also maybe Raj, you might want to chime in on here, even though we do have you next for another question. But This question is what specific strategies can mid-market businesses implement using SAP S4HANA Cloud Public Edition to stay competitive and thrive in today's rapidly evolving business landscape?
Sure, absolutely. Monique, before going there, Christoph, just one of the point just want to mention. Now you put a very good one about the business case. I'm going to come back on this question too. The business case, we have an excellent tool within the SAP portfolio. What I think Angel can now mention about this is called VLM, Value Lifecycle Manager tool. The VLM tool helps any organization to come up with a sort of a business case with a clear understanding on the financial benefits and how they want to do, provided given their scenario, the industry portfolio, and the industry standards. I think VLM can definitely help to bring a sort of a business case for any mid-market client. I mean, it could be a mid-market, a large enterprise, but definitely helps to start at some point for any of the organizations to discuss internally about the business case. Hope that just want to mention about it. I mean, you talked about business case. I just want to mention about it.
Yeah. Monique, do you want me to take a step to answer the question?
Please. Please.
Go ahead.
Yes.
I'm going to come back to several things that I said, and want to start with making sure that there actually is a true business need and a business benefit that is answered with the implementation. That a business leader, as senior as possible, ideally from the C-suite, is identified to champion this project, and then that there is a very, very robust process in place to identify those few business processes that would require a customization versus a fit to standard process. It's all about how do I accelerate my implementation? How do I keep my core clean and deliver value as fast as possible? And this starts and ends with a clean core mentality, with a digital culture where everybody understands the benefits that are derived from implementing the core solution quickly and then continuously improving on top of the core solution. So that would be my answer about a core strategy. Much of the implementation details, the details on the pursuit of a solution, a vendor, derive from the very high level mindset that digital transformation is really relevant to my company. I can't ignore it. I need a business leader who champions it, and then I have to have a very accelerated approach that's supported by a fit to standard type solution to the largest extent possible.
And Christoph, if I may add, I think I totally subscribe to what you said. One thing that I think is also a success factor here, this moving particularly to cloud public edition is not an upgrade, and it's not your new ERP. It is really a digital transformation, and it's a digital transformation that has to be business driven. It cannot be IT driven. So you need to engage the business not only in, as you said, the building of the business case, but it has to be engaged all the way from the beginning with that sponsor that you mentioned, Christoph. It has that mentality of the cloud mindset, that ability to translate the benefits that are gonna come to the company through this mentality and this approach all the way down to the process owner and the end user, to help them answer the question of what's in it for me, why should I go this path, why is this automation gonna help me, or why is this AI use case is gonna help me. And it has to go all the way to go live and beyond. Because what happens here is not only that we have those time to values and that are really short, and as Christoph also was saying, the change management becomes even more important, is that the enablement has to happen immediately, constantly, and do not stop at go live. There are a few things like enablement can stop at go live because you will continue to adopt innovations, new functionality that is out there, not for free, but included in the license that you can adopt, and it's going to help you run your processes more streamlined. Your users need to be aware of those and the business has to select which ones of those processes or new innovations that are made available by SAP are useful to you and which are not useful to you. But at the same time, there are things like testing. You mentioned test automation tool. The testing needs to be automated, not because now we are talking about 50% of the time for this deployment, but because you will have to regret testing your solution every 6 months, and therefore the investment in your automation is not something that disappears and stops having value as you go live, which is how it used to be. It continues to be relevant and important as you adopt those innovations to ensure that your main core processes, value-add processes, are not impacted by the new functionality or new countries or new company codes that you continue to add to your solution.
Yeah, adding to that, just want to mention one big point is for that particular question. I feel like now the 3 areas like now mid-market business should focus. What is their core process? For instance, like if they plan to process or to build to settle, they have 3 to 4 core processes that need to be first of all identified. And what is their cross-enterprise support processes? Mean to say how the core is dependent on the cross-enterprise, for instance, HR or source to pay or their procurement, some of these things. And the current one important to see is, the third one is BTP. As you know, the BTP is a pivotal key area in the entire cloud migration, cloud formation. You need to have a good process or identifying your data analytics and integration, extension, and of course, your AI processes. So these 3, I feel like important areas that now before you really start looking into for any big market. Yep, go ahead. Sorry, I think we are taking time.
Yes, no, this is all really great insights and various points. In fact, we have a series of questions coming in from the audience. So we are going to try and tackle them. But before we do that, I'm actually going to bring this to you, Raj, okay? Sure. When it comes to SAP best practices, can SAP best practices be extended with Grow? Particularly in the process automation.
Yeah. So yes, absolutely. So the SAP best practices are predominantly all the processes based on previous customer experiences, and they are flexible and modularly deployable. At the same time, there are a lot of automated, pre-configured processes. So all these are all part of the best practices. So the SAP build process automation basically is available with both RISE and Growth with SAP offerings. With this, like what happens is you can eliminate the redundancy and also the manual business processes which are now highly repetitive. So you can automate all these processes from this build process automation package. Anyway, it comes with your Grow with SAP or RISE with SAP. It is available with both packages. So what are the some of the features of these of this build process automation? Or basically you have the workflow management, wherein you can write the logics and you can build, adapt, and organize the process flows. All these things you can do in the workflow management. And of course, you have robotic process automation. It is part of this. And of course, the embedded artificial intelligence, which can be further extend it to Gen AI. So these are some of the features you will get in this SAP build process automation, of course, which you will get. I think it is at no cost, but I don't want to say that, but no, I think Egel can mention about that. I think it comes at not any extra cost, but now the build process automation is a great process automation tool. The whole package helps to automate a lot of the manual and repetitive processes in your process automation. So yeah, it is part of the best practices and then tested, and it is part of the whole thing. So just want to keep it short for the sake of time to move forward. Angel, if you want to add, please go ahead.
If you don't mind, Raj, Monique, just to add a visual to what Raj perfectly described. We often describe it as a subway map. The subway is going to take you to a certain subway station, and those are the best practices. It's going to take you point A to point B. Is that exactly where you want to go? Probably not. Probably you want to walk a couple other not a mile, but a couple of the blocks left or right. Those are your extensions, and that's how you take those best practices, those encapsulated and testable processes, and extend it. And SAP provides on the public cloud and on BTP certain tools to do so. One of them, process automation, Raj mentioned it. Another one is embedded in the solution in S4 Cloud Public Edition, which is in-app extension, which is a low-code, no-code type of extension. Then you can do actually ABAP on it's called developer extensibility. You can actually code ABAP on S4HANA Cloud Public Edition. And then the last one is going to be for larger extensions through BTP and includes those process automations that are services in BTP. And all that together is what the tools that you should use to extend, as Christoph was saying, for those value-added extensions that are absolutely necessary. Extend your best practices, your core, to have your differentiating factor from the competition.
Thank you so much, Angel. And I'm going to bring up a question from the audience. So when I do that, let's just make it quick fire if you all don't mind. So for the sake of time, I know we're going to go over, which is great. And each of the things that you all are sharing, and especially those who are watching us, please keep the questions coming. We'll try our best to address as many as possible. So the next question that we have from the audience is, how does SAP facilitate collaboration and communication among different departments or stakeholders within a mid-market organization? Whoever would like to do so in a rapid fire moment, or we could do each of you, please go ahead.
So let me take the first step. It goes through our user experience tool, which is called Fiori. Fiori is a tool, is the layer that's above not only the cloud ERP, but all SAP cloud solutions. And it comes, probably you heard about it, it's a theme called Horizon, was active for the last year and a half, that structures your homepage really efficiently. So first, you're going to see anything that requires immediate action. Like, for example, Raj was mentioning workflows. All your pending workflows are going to be there on your laptop or on your phone, tablet, etc., etc. And after that is going to be your most used apps. And under that, you're going to see a lot of dashboards. So there is an ability that to share that with other users, not only through that immediate workflow and actions to be taken, but through Egel, which is our co-pilot, powered by AI. That's going to allow you to not only create sales orders and purchase orders and everything without even typing anything, just create this purchase order for this material for this vendor, but it's also going to allow you to send a report directly to your colleague or receive a PO for validation directly, like you are typing in your regular Copilot or chatting application. So that in addition with some features that like shared through Microsoft Teams that SAP adds now between an agreement between co-developed between Microsoft and SAP, allows that collaboration to minimize the time that certain activities or processes are in between users. So that increases collaboration and streamline the processes.
Two quick additional thoughts to what you said, Angel. One is, I've heard very often in the context of the public cloud, or let's call it S4HANA in general, that the desire is to have no-touch workflows. And SAP has an end-to-end business process view, and if this can be facilitated in a no-touch fashion, it actually reduces the need for interaction between departments, because the transaction flow, the process flow is conducted automatically in the background. The second one is, and I believe you touched on this, Angel, is the notification, the automatic notification process. If a task, a process goes to its next step, the owner of the next step will be automatically notified. And one additional benefit, touched on this earlier, is the importance of having a single data source and having the data all integrated. Although we know about this from earlier SAP versions, because the data integration between all the different departments and business functions was always a key consideration. So my quick thought is the automation, the no-touch automation, as well as the notification, really accelerate the interaction between different departments.
That's spot on, Christoph, and that allows you to change the system in itself, changes from reactive to proactive. Just open your browser, connect to the system, and the system is going to tell you what your working day looks like. That's very different from having to search, do I have anything pending? That's one. And the second one is related to the workflow. It's going to take the next step of automation, which is from an automated system to an autonomous system. And of course, that's going to be helped by AI, but it's going to be limiting the touch of the user to the error, right? Error handling you will always need the user, but the rest can be processed as the system learns even more and more the behavior on the system and the threat and the threshold for approvals and on rejections is going to help we all get there.
Thank you so much to each of you for chiming in on that. The next question is actually directly to you, Christoph. What integration capabilities does Grow offer?
Yeah, great question, especially in the context of what we talked about earlier, and this is the need to integrate an ERP into a much larger systems ecosystem, where the ERP is not the solution to everything. We have B2C, B2B, CRM systems that integrate with customers and also with our vendors that have the same type of systems to interact with us. We have computer-aided design, engineering, analysis systems, PLMs, MESs, WMSs. We now have an emerging landscape of advanced planning integrations, analytics integrations, AI integrations, machine learning integrations that have to be facilitated. And without going into any technical details on how SAP Public Cloud does that, you don't want to have a CIO talking about the technology. That's dangerous, and I know my limitations. So if anybody has a technical question, please shoot these to Raj and to Angel. But in a project that I was involved with last year, we actually found that every integration with an SAP offering, especially the cloud offerings, is available automatically. SAP integrates well and automatically. And I believe I can firmly say at no additional cost with itself, with its other solutions, but it also offers an SAP integration suite for third-party integrations. That costs something on a transaction basis or on a systems basis, but many of the systems that you would look at integrating with already have established solutions there, be it from an EDI perspective, be it from, the other big ticket systems. I don't want to advertise anyone, but, Salesforce comes to mind. Frequently asked questions. Those integrations are available with the integration suite. So in this particular project, one of our largest concerns was third-party integrations or integrations with other systems in the landscape, and there were numerous. I don't want to say too many to count because the number was not that big, but it was a concern, and in every single instance a solution was available. And I'm going to stop there because I personally wouldn't be able to answer any deeper questions.
Well, Christoph, it's clear that Grow's integration capabilities are key to creating a cohesive and powerful business ecosystem. So thank you for sharing your insights and also just being vulnerable of the fact that CIOs can't really talk about the technical side of things. And again, anyone have any sort of those type of questions, please address them to Angel and Raj. Now I'm going to go to an audience question.
Monica, please let it go on record that I didn't say that. I have fellow CIOs that can answer technical questions very well. I didn't just out a profession. It's just, I know my limitations.
Okay, thank you. With that said, we're going to go to an audience question. So please answer in a very succinct manner. So this is open to all three of you. Any perceived drawbacks or challenges associated with SAP S4 HANA cloud adoption?
To me, it's all about the mindset, right?
Yeah.
It is the system per se doesn't have limitations, right? It's available for all industries, all sizes of companies. We have very, very large sizes companies, small companies, and in all regions. So what is important is that concept when I was describing earlier, the difference between rise and grow is the company ready to adopt standard best practices to run on an industry standard rather than a tailored ERP and go at their own pace. Some companies are and some companies don't, and that really doesn't depend on the size. Maybe the mid-sized companies are more cloud native and they are more flexible and agile per se. But it depends also on the willingness of complete abandonment of what they have in their previous ERP or manual processes and the adoption of these SAP standard best practices. Because if they are not, if we're not able to take that sponsor that we were describing earlier and have that person transfer the benefits to the end user on why we are doing this, why does the company need to be more agile, or why do we need a period of hypergrowth, etc., then there is a risk of not being engaged for those customers. Then the change management wouldn't be that efficient, and that's where the biggest risk comes. So it's not necessarily systematic, it's more organizational risk.
I would add, the question was, are there perceived challenges or issues, and certainly the emotional issue of do I want to take my data and my intellectual property into an environment that I don't fully control, is one that needs to be addressed. It's probably in the back of many people's minds as we look at SaaS solutions. The second one is the information security aspect, goes along with the intellectual property and the data. And in many instances, one will find that these type of solutions actually have equal, if not superior, information security capabilities than anything that many mid-market companies could stand up on by themselves. And then there is a not so much perceived but real challenge, and this is the ability to adopt to the changes required with a fit-to-standard process. Many companies have significant investments. Angel, I think it was you who stated that the private cloud environment really is the target system for companies that have a significant investment in, let's say, ECC environments. And some of this is because there's only so much ability to adopt the change that goes with a full transformation into a public cloud environment with its industry standard practices. Now, how much change can I accept at a given point of time? And for some companies, the answer is, I just can't do that. It's too much because I have so much investment in customizations. Remember my technology debt mentioning earlier towards the beginning of it. Those type of processes will have to change to a new process, and I can only absorb so much change at a given time.
All right, thank you so much to you both. So we don't want to leave you all without providing a spotlight on success through hearing success stories. Success stories specifically from companies that have thrived by implementing SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition and learn the best practices that led to their success. So we acknowledge that hearing direct implementation can be extremely powerful, and you all may see yourselves doing the same for your company, of course, after hearing the stories. With that said, let's open it up to all three of our guest speakers. So Angel, Christoph, and Raj, as you all are here, could each of you share a story of transformation that stands out to you? And Raj, would you go first, please?
Yeah, I can do that. Thank you. Sure, Monique. So this client is a mid-market a medical technology company, and they have a lot of point care instrumentation and process automation. I always have a lot of fascination towards these process automation and instrumentation companies. So I happened to come across them, and they had a lot of challenge with their legacy ERP. They're running this ERP for 20 plus years and couldn't bring some of their complex manufacturing processes, which they have outsourced, in-build, in-house. So they evaluated some of the available and easy to implement or adopt to their current legacy ERPs, and they went ahead with S/4HANA Public Cloud, and they implemented, I think, pretty well. And their main issues are with some of the order to cash processes and plan to produce the production processes. And with that, they're able to, they have a very intended, well-rooted bill of material, and also they have a very good quality management processes. They are manufacturing these medical equipment, small point care medical equipment. So they run a very good Kaizen system and Kanban systems and all that. So while they're able to implement pretty fast, this is what is important, the pre-configured cloud, and also immediately they're able to clean core system, and they minimized some of their customizations very well, and they just went ahead with about, I think, 26 to 30 weeks live, and they're able to really take their initial processes live and went very well for them. And due to this, they're able to bring their contract manufacturing inside, and they're able to accept more business by almost 30% more and improve their business and deliveries in a better way. So this is a clear win for of course, SAP, and also for this S/4HANA public cloud, with a small, short, implementation cycle. And they're able to, further stay on that launch and then grow further and stay up to date on the future cloud updates. Yeah, just want to keep Monique there. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Raj. Next, we will have Christoph, if you don't mind sharing a success story with us, please.
Yeah, thanks, Monique. I was engaged with a client last year in a system selection process, and this really started with sending out an RFI to multiple vendors. And while I'm not going to disclose who all those vendors were, obviously one was SAP, and we actually did not expect them to answer with an SAP HANA S4 solution. We were actually thinking more in the business by design realm. Because this was a mid-market environment, several $100 million of revenue to support. And we were positively surprised when SAP came back with a combo between RISE and CROW. And last year, there was still a little bit of, I don't want to call it confusion, but overlap between the two solutions. And I really appreciate Angel's clarification that CROW now is the public cloud offering. But the bottom line was we were looking for a solution that had a very aggressive time to market, time to value, speed to value, time aspect to it. We didn't want to spend more than 26 weeks, half a year, from the beginning of the RFI to the implementation. That was a little bit more aggressive than we were able to facilitate because we underestimated the internal approval processes between the different gates. But it is very much in line with the timelines that we heard earlier. We ran a very quick RFI process that overlapped with SAP's discover phase in the activate methodology. So we learned a lot about the solution. As we were going through the response to the RFI, we then had an 8-week blueprinting design process, which significantly overlapped explore and realize. We used our own terminology because we tried to be vendor independent, and then mapped to SAP's methodology. And the company is now in the deploy phase, and so far the SI's, the system integrators' commitment to the aggressive timelines have held true for the discover, explore, realize time phases, and go live hasn't happened yet, so I can't elaborate on this, but the speed to value has been proven in every step to date, and therefore, I would consider this a true differentiator to have an S/4HANA type capability competing with mid-market ERP systems.
Thank you so much, Christoph, for sharing your story. With that said, Angel, please share yours.
And I know we are out of time, Monique, so I'll be really fast. I'm going to build up on the time to value proposition that Christoph and Raj were mentioning, and I'm going to mention 3. There are SAP references, so I can use their names. The first one is 9 Energy. With 2023, we brought them live in 10 weeks. This is a battery storage company out of New York City. Scope financials, they were very happy. 10 weeks beginning to end. They have a lot of more visibility and transparency on their finance and a lot of more control over their projects, cost, revenue, calculation, and automation of that calculation. The second one is 2024. We fabricate. That's also an industrial manufacturing. This is out of the Netherlands. And the scope here was the financial, what we call finance-led, so finance, procurement, and sales. And at the same time, we got in the operational part of the manufacturing. And again, we were live in 10 weeks, and they were very happy, not only with streamlining their processes, but also Christoph touched base on this, streamlining their integrations, automatic integrations out of the box with other SAP systems that they had. In this case was SAP Ariba CIM, invoice management, and extended warehouse management, 10 weeks. And the last one is 2023, also a smart railway. This is another railway converters manufacturing company, so another manufacturing company. This is outside of Germany, and it took us 17 weeks to bring it alive with a full-blown scope, and that included finance, sales, procurement, including production and even service management. And they were not only very happy with all the transparency and everything, agility that I mentioned, but also on to the previous questions, they were very happy on how particularly the production teams were able to collaborate and streamline that collaboration a lot more than they had previously.
Thank you so much, Angel, for sharing that story. And I know we have run out of time, and we have quite a few questions that we have here. So I'm going to just choose one last one, if you guys don't mind, before we officially close this out, if you guys are up for it. So let's see. I am going to choose this one. How has the adoption of SAP S/4HANA transformed your organization's business processes and operational efficiency?
Maybe Christoph, do you want to take that one, or?
I can.
No.
Actually, I can.
Oh, you can't? Okay.
No, I
okay.
can. I cannot.
So,
First of all,
so
that would be confidential information. Second, I'm not there yet.
So I would say overall and solution agnostic for a start, if you wish. There are certain things that organizations do that are not necessary, and there are very good valid reasons for that. There are companies that grow by acquisitions, or ERPs that are adding components year after year because their needs grow, or they go into other countries, Brazil, and then they get now a lot of additional functionality. So streamlining that and using a best practice that is already working on the top companies, more efficient companies in the world, really gives you the perspective, and it allows you to first adopt those best practices, and second, go through all those functionalities, customizations, and systems that grew organically as your company grows into perspective, to keep those that are actually valuable to your company and discard those that are not. That would be my point of view.
All right. Raj, anything to add before we conclude today's panel?
Yeah, I think it's great discussions and excellent questions. Actually, adding to this, as I mentioned, one of the client success stories, the processes get better, and also and with the help of the BTP and Gen AI, now the whole lot of cloud capabilities are being added. That's how clients are getting a lot of benefits to S/4HANA public cloud, especially with the short cycles of grow with SAP implementations. So grow with SAP.
All right. Christoph, did you want to share something real quick?
I wanted to answer the question that wasn't asked.
Okay.
In this context. So while I can talk about productivity improvements and topics like this, Angel mentioned the benefits in terms of implementation cost and effort. So, the time to value, it's increased, or it's halved compared to a traditional implementation. Consulting fees are half of what a traditional implementation, gap fit type implementation would take. The decrease in project cost and reduction in TCO are, pretty much in the same realm. And I believe what we've seen, not just in my experience, but talking with other customers, and other implementations. I think Angel and Raj alluded to this. All these are real numbers. They are not SAP numbers that look good on a marketing piece of paper, but those are numbers that reference customers are truly experiencing as a result of the acceleration and the simplification and the adoption of standard business processes. So yes, that's not the question that was asked in terms of, how does my productivity improve? How does my effectiveness and efficiency from a business perspective improve? But just from a purely project perspective, those are real numbers if you follow the principles that we alluded to earlier.
All right, thank you so much, Christoph. So as we conclude today's panel, and before I do so, I just want to say thank you to the audience that have been with us literally from the beginning to the end here. For one, thank you for asking your questions. I know we weren't able to address each and every one, so I want to encourage you, Christoph, Raj, and Angel to please go ahead and go back to the LinkedIn event directly. And if you can answer any of those questions directly, we would greatly appreciate it just by replying to their questions, because for one, we thank the audience for participating and engaging with us. Again, as I addressed at the very beginning, we wanted this to be a two-way street. And I know we ran out of time, but I just want to make sure to the guest speakers here, please go ahead and address those questions accordingly. But today, as we conclude our panel, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to each of our speakers, Christoph, Raj, and Angel, for their deep dives, and to our audience, again, for you all's engagement. We truly, truly appreciate it. This event's recording will be available on the same LinkedIn Live event page for those who missed it or who want to revisit these discussions. Please don't hesitate to do so, especially those who are coming back to revisit. Please just continue the conversation in the comments area. Today, we've journeyed through the essence of Grow with SAP, tackled real-world challenges, and celebrated the success stories that exemplify the potential of SAP solutions. So let's carry forward these insights and inspirations as we navigate our digital transformation journeys. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. We look forward to welcoming you to our future events. Again, I'm Monique, and it's been a pleasure to be a host for today's event. Take care, and here's to your continued success in the digital era. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, Monique. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.